trying to make ends meet. Do you need a minute to get off your feet? Moving to the rhythm of the same old beat. Whoa. A slave to the grind till you drop dead. Tangle with the devil living in your head. Do you wanna party with me instead? Whoa. So we're going out tonight to dance under the city lights and live like we'll never die. Whoa. So we're living it up. We're living it up, yeah. We're living it up, yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to Cruise Shop Save Live. It's been a couple of weeks, but I'm here with a special guest, Alex, from the fabulous Facebook group Cunard Critic. How are you?
I'm very well, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we met because I was looking for someone to okay, so I need to say it in an English accent, but beta test beta test the Alaskan maps, and you very kindly volunteered because you're going to Alaska soon. And when we were chatting about your Alaska cruise, you happened to throw into the mix that you just finished cruising in Japan, where I just about fell off my chair and said, you've got to come on the show and please talk about your cruise to Japan, because I don't know about anybody else who's watching. If you're watching, by the way, hello and welcome. It's Friday afternoon. It's a bit too early for a cocktail, so I thought I'd leave it to the water. It's only 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if anyone's got any questions for Alex or just want to say hi, stick them in the comments. But first of all, Alex, when did you cruise to Japan?
We cruised in May. We were on the last southern Japan tour of the Queen Elizabeth, and then when we disembarked, she did a few more stops in Japan on her way over to Alaska, and we are on our way to meet her there in about 2 weeks.
Oh wow! Oh, that's amazing. So some of the crew will be the same.
Yes, some of them will. We had a chat with the crew, and a lot of them are staying on. There's some we're going to miss, which is a shame. Like the entertainment crew were brilliant, but unfortunately, they're all off for their holidays. But I'm sure the next ones will be brilliant.
Oh yeah, to meet new friends. So tell us about what happened. Did you fly into Japan? If so, no.
No, my life's never that easy. In a nutshell, those who have followed, who know me from the Cunard Critic group who are here today, hi everyone. You all know I work for an airline, a big airline in the UK. So I was using my staff tickets, and we were intended to fly to Tokyo, but the wheels kind of came off, so we ended up going to Hong Kong instead. Did a couple of days there, and then we flew into Fukuoka, and we went up to Hiroshima. We were due to go to Hiroshima on the cruise, but it was cancelled because of the G7. So we specifically go there because that's where Grandad served during the back end, well, just after the war. So that was one of the main reasons for the trip.
Wow. And how was it? Was it really moving?
It was. Hiroshima was kind of, it was organized chaos in a way because there's all these politicians arriving, so the security landing and things weren't quite as open as they could have been, but we got to see a lot. The best part was we actually went down to where he was based, which was just down the road in a little town called Kure, which is it's a naval center, but it's also a big maritime building place. And that was amazing because we went to the Maritime Museum and they were there to meet us with pictures of when he was there and where he would have lived, and we took pictures that he took, so it was really nice to do a cultural exchange.
Oh my god, I'm gobsmacked. Oh my god, just talking to you, it gets better and better and better. So that must have been really amazing. Gosh,
it was something that Mum's always wanted to do, and we were planning on doing it in 2020, but obviously that's enough of that discussion. So it was wonderful to finally get this trip underway and do the things we wanted to do. And then, she wanted to see more of Japan while she was there. So a cruise was the ideal way to see it.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more. And then so you finally got to the ship. So did you join like mid-cruise then?
No, we joined her in Yokohama. So we specifically flew out a few days early, so we could spend time in Hiroshima. And then we got the bullet train up to Yokohama, and from there we jumped on a taxi up to the port and boarded at the start of her next 10-day leg. There were people who've been on before. There was people doing multi-leg trips. Some were staying on till Alaska. So it's kind of a rolling itinerary almost.
Is it because I know some of the cruise lines, they do world cruises and then they chop it up into bits for people to do, or was it not
No,
quite a world cruise?
this isn't a world cruise. She spends a season in Japan, but there's various itineraries and lengths you can book. So some people have been on for 20, 30 days before when she'd come over from, she'd been to Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, places like that. And some were just on for the 10-day with us. Some were staying on till Alaska. And then there was one couple we met who sold everything and just travel now.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
I do always say to my husband, you know, we work hard and we'll end up with a huge, well, I say huge, it's not that big, but we'll end up with a cottage that we actually just leave to relatives that we don't. Sorry, relatives, if you're watching, but we might.
Yeah, you're not spending your inheritance.
Yeah. I've got a lovely picture that I found online. It's not very good quality, but this is the QE sailing out of Yokohama. And
where we sailed at night, but I actually missed the sail away in Yokohama because I ended up going down with an absolutely stinking migraine. So I'll just have to go back again.
Oh, you have to, absolutely. And take me with you. Take me with you. So how long was your cruise? How many nights?
It was 10 nights.
Right.
This one. It was quite port intensive, so that's something to perhaps watch out for if you like me and my family, I like a lot of sea days. But this one, there was a lot of back-to-back ports, so it was a very busy cruise.
Yeah, I bet. And Alaska's a bit like that as well. There's a lot of cruises where it's a little bit like a river cruise, isn't it? You just get up early in the morning, you're off the ship, you're doing everything, you come back, get showered, eat dinner, sometimes grab a show, go to bed.
Yeah. Well, Alaska will probably be this kind of similar, but we're staying on after she finishes Alaska for a few days to go down to California, so we've got a nice break at the end.
Oh, that's nice. So, I mean, can you run me through the 10 days or?
Yes. We went to, this might not be in order, but we'll go for it. We went to Nagasaki, Kochi, which I remember was the last port, Miyazaki, Abaratsu, somewhere else I've got a map for that. Give me 2 seconds. There's a lot of names to remember.
I know.
Kagoshima, and we called into Busan in South Korea on one of the stops as well.
Oh wow, really? Okay. And so, what was the? We don't have to talk about each port, but what was the sort of standout? Could be here all night. What was the sort of standout ports and tours that you did?
They were all really interesting in their own way. My favorite was probably Nagasaki. It was a really interesting. There was a lot going on because it's not just, AN Japan call. It's got so much history going on in the city. It was the only city that was open for trading when Japan was a closed nation. So it's very cosmopolitan, still very European influences. And despite having been essentially wiped off the map 80 years ago, you'd never know it hadn't always been there. It's thriving, it's busy, people were wonderful.
Wow.
That was my favorite. I really enjoyed Nagasaki. I would like to go back and spend some time. Right. Because there's a lot of interesting peninsulas there that we sailed out through as well. And one I remember we sailed past, and this is the Catholic Portuguese influence. It's got this huge statue of the Virgin Mary on the rocks.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Which you kind of don't expect in Japan.
Yeah. What's that doing there? Brilliant. Oh, I love it. And then so in terms of the tours that you did, so what sort of was the highlights?
So tours we did, we took ourselves around Nagasaki. It was dead easy to do.
Right.
You were provided with
Nagasaki independent. Go independent.
Independent Nagasaki is dead easy. Everything's on the tram system and everything's walkable from the tram lines. Dead easy. Ships tours we did in Busan. We went to so I should say the people who said it was me, mum, and my 12-year-old. So in Busan, myself and my 12-year-old went off to a Buddhist temple to do a tea ceremony, and that was a ship's tour, which we don't normally do, but it was because of the distance to the temple and just the logistics of trying to arrange it on our own. Sometimes it was just easier to go, like Cunard, take the strain on that one, and that was wonderful.
Yeah.
We
Mm.
Oh, sorry, I was
Sorry,
going to
go
say we
on.
did a ship's tour in Kochi as well, but again, that went to a shrine which you could see in the very far distance, right on top of a hill. And then it's like we went down into Kochi and saw the castle and spent some time in the town as well.
Yeah. And how much in terms of the cost of the tours, worth the money or
For those, I
or
would say yes, because they were expensive, but they weren't massively expensive.
Mhm.
And in terms of what they took away from self-organizing and the stresses of trying to get yourself somewhere where
Mhm.
deeply unfamiliar, it was well worth it.
Yeah.
You know, if you had the time to do it, if you were there for a few days, you could do it yourself. But you know,
Yeah.
we found with Japan especially, there's not a lot of English signage.
Yeah.
It's not very widely spoken. Don't get me wrong, everyone's super helpful. You know, people would literally
Right.
stop and ask you, you know, in broken
Oh,
English if they could
wow.
help and guide you. But
Oh,
it was
sweet.
just, it was lovely. The people were great. But it was those two, it was worth doing the ship's tours. The rest of them we did independently and it was dead easy.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we'll make a note of that. So Nagasaki independently. So what we got Nagasaki independently. Where did you go to see the shrine?
That was Kochi, which is spelled
Kochi.
Kochi, because there's quite a few places called Kochi in the world. And then Busan in South Korea, we did the ship's tour because again, it was just such a distance to get to the Buddhist temple. It was
Mhm.
worth doing. We did. I'm having a brain moment again. Kagoshima, we did independently.
Right.
That was really easy. When you get off the ship, there's a shuttle into town, and it's about half an hour into town. But from there, we got the ferry over to Sakurajima, which is a volcanic island.
Wow.
And you can take a hop-on, hop-off bus around, and you can do that so easy to do on your own. I've been advising another of my cruise followers because she's going to Japan very soon. I was calling them, and she was like, "Should I do the ship's tour?" I was like, "No, don't. Dead easy on your own and dead cheap as well."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. And so, because we'll write all this up so people can, have it as an easy guide.
Yes.
And yeah. And so, food. What was the food like? Did you eat ashore at all?
We did. We didn't eat as much ashore as I wanted to, purely because sometimes logistics meant you were getting back to the ship at meal times or you were
Right.
off sort of in between. But yeah, we took advantage of trying some local food. The ramen was so good
Oh,
everywhere and
wow.
so cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap Japan was. You know, because you always have
Really?
these stories about, oh God, it's really expensive, but absolutely it wasn't. I mean, for three of
Really?
us, we had ramen and they were massive, great big
Yeah.
steaming
Oh, I love
bowls.
ramen. Yeah.
2 beers and lemonade, and it was £24.
No.
£24. You can't eat in Wagamama for £24 here.
God, no, that's my meal. That's my meal.
I love a
that.
bowl of ramen. That's my thing at Wagamama. So yeah, it was
Oh,
a shock, and
gosh.
it's much better there, I have to say.
Yeah.
Sushi was great everywhere we had it. It's freshly
love
made.
sushi.
You know, it's just so different to how we do things in the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what are some, because I mean, as you say, it's so different to everything we do over here. But what are some real, notable differences?
It's so clean. It's the
Cle-
cleanest country I've ever been. It blew my mind. There's no litter. But the thing is, there's not just no litter, there's no bins. There are no bins anywhere.
Oh. So that's a
cultural thing.
cultural
You are
thing.
expected to take all your rubbish home. There's not a drop of it anywhere. I mean, you know, a major
Where do you
city.
start here? God.
I know, you know, a major city of, you know, millions and millions of people. Not a thing. Not even a bit of a wrapper.
There's that thing as well, isn't it? Where if you go into a lay-by, I saw on the news over here a while back. If you go into a lay-by and there's already rubbish, it's sort of a license. Encourages it. So they're cleaning it up. So I suppose when you go to Japan, you're like, you know what? If I throw this wrapper on the floor, no one does it.
No one does it. And, you know, from what we could gather, you're very much shamed if you do it, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm all for it. Bring on the shame.
Yeah, me too.
So that was it was really noticeable. Everyone's super polite. And I keep saying this to my husband because he didn't come on this trip. I said, you can't believe the bowing. It's like, you know, in your head, you know, you've got this idea in your head, like everyone bows. Everyone bows. all the time, constantly. And we got really into the habit of it really early on because they do it for everything. And it was literally as soon as we landed and got to the hotel, there was somebody, I don't know who it was, somebody very important, and he had all these salarymen on it, and they were bowing like really deep bows. But you got into the habit of it because everybody does it. And when you did bow, it was, everyone was like, you're really welcome. The fact that you were taking that tiny bit of your time to respect their traditions.
And so you were bowing?
Yeah, all the time. And it was, you would bow and say, arigato gozaimasu, which is basically thank you very much.
Arigato
gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu. Oh, I love it. I want to go. Did you ever watch that Joanna Lumley?
I love Lumley.
I love her. She did. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah. So she did that. She did the North and the South Island in Japan. And she took that train. Have you ever watched it? Like, she's doing the Silk Road now at the moment.
She is. She's doing the Spice Trail, isn't she? I have watched it. I'll need to rewatch it because I've watched everything that's been Japan. I kind of like binging it since I got back, but I've not remembered that. But we basically did the South Island. So this cruise was more or less Kyushu, which is the South Island.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm nodding, going, yeah. That's South Island. Okay.
Hokkaido, I forget the name of the main island, and then Kyushu's like the big one. So you've got the three big islands, and Kyushu's the bottom one, and obviously Yokohama's in the middle because that's where the cruise goes from. The other thing that was unbelievable, the trains. The trains.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, the trains.
They're all on time.
They were not just on time, they're like to the second. They were clean, they were quiet. We did regional rail as well as bullet trains. And on the regional rail, they ask you not to use your phone. If you're sitting near somebody elderly, be conscious that they may have a pacemaker, so don't even turn your phone on. Don't eat on the trains. It was, again, super clean, not... the trains over here are, they're all right, but they're nothing like they are over there. And the bullet trains, well, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
She took the bullet train because this started my love affair of Japan. Is when me and my husband watched Joanna Lumley in Japan. It was called something, I can't remember what it was. And she started in the north, and it was freezing, and it was just beautiful. It was breathtaking. Oh, we lost her. That's your dog. She said, "Oh, there you are." If you're watching this and Alex just disappeared, she did say her dog was under the table, and if the dog decides to get up, it might disconnect everything. So we'll see if she comes back. But I'll carry on with my story. Oh, she's back. Okay, so I was just saying about the Joanna, and you know what I'll do is I'll actually Google it because I feel bad that I don't know the name of it. But if you just put in Joanna Lumley Japan, it'll come up, and it's just beautiful. So what else was going to ask you? So are you going to go back and do the north, or do they cruise the north?
Yeah. So the North Island is Hokkaido.
Right. Okay.
And I would love to go back one of these days. I'd like to go back and spend 2-3 weeks just bouncing around Japan, and
that's what we'd like to do.
Osaka or something, and just bounce around. Would I do a cruise in Japan again? Maybe not. Maybe
do you know what? I know this sounds contrary to what we both do, because obviously we into cruises, but I'm just sitting here thinking, I mean, you know what? I'd take a cruise anyway, just to go on a cruise. But I feel like when you cruise, oftentimes that's the destination. Whereas with Japan, you'd either want to pre or post cruise it, wouldn't you? At least.
I would definitely, if I was to go back, if I was going to do a cruise, I would do it after a good 2 or 3 weeks of bouncing around, because I'd like to get more in Japan itself. Those little few days we had before the cruise really giving me a taste for going back and finding out a bit more.
Wow. And was it quite moving? I mean, we talked about when you went to Hiroshima, but what about when you went to the Buddhist temple? Was it moving?
It was. Do you know what? It's one of the things that was so amazing. I said I had my son with me. They obviously don't see. Oh, that's now. He's a pain. She'll start shouting at me in a minute.
Is it actually called Nout?
She's actually called Nout. Her name is Nout. Because when she came, she's actually my husband's cat. When she arrived, one of my husband's friends said, "Oh, what's her name?" And he went, "Oh, Nout yet," because obviously being up north, Nout, nothing, and it stuck. So she's Nout.
Oh, bless. No.
She's so funny, bless her.
Yeah. Sorry. So you were
So
saying.
yeah, going back to the temple, this was in Korea, South Korea rather than Japan, but they obviously don't see many white children. So poor Gabriel, bless him. Every time he walked around, he had people going, "Oh, so handsome! Oh, so blue-eyed! Oh, so handsome!" And he's not normally he's the kind of kid who's like, "Don't touch me," but he was dead good, bless him.
Oh,
But
bless him.
he was almost like a guest of honor there. You know, they put him to the front of everything at the tea ceremony with special place at the front.
Wow.
You know, sat him down there. And when he went away, they were all blowing kisses to him. So it was moving in a way that you might not experience if you don't go with your kids. But that was kind of unexpected. I didn't think he'd be, you know, the celebrity 12-year-old.
How sweet! It's good for his confidence in that. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I really want to go. It's like top of my list. And then in terms of the cruise itself, how was the Queen Elizabeth?
Oh, it was lovely. Now, we're big Cunard fans, but we've never actually sailed on Queen Elizabeth. And we were a bit apprehensive because we're big fans of the Queen Mary too. Like, she's our absolute favourite ship. So I kind of went with that. Well, I'm sure it'll be okay. But you know what? She's a beautiful ship. Just lovely, just perfect size. The crew were lovely. The room proportions are just absolutely just right. Everything was wonderful. I there's nothing I could say, well, you know, that was awful. It was just great.
And did they bring on board some of Japan, like with some nice food? Was there any entertainment?
Yes, there was. So this was it was very much a very, very international. I mean, Cunard anyway is always an international cruise line. You always get a good mix of guests. But this had a real mix. There was Japanese, Australians, a lot of Australians.
Wow. Okay.
Some Brits, but kind of in the minority, really.
Really?
So
okay.
It was like taking, it was like you know this cruise line, it's all very familiar, but it's a really good, interesting mix of people. So there'd be events for Japanese, events for English speakers, cross-cultural events, but everyone would just go to each one. So there was one night we went to Japanese karaoke up in the yacht club, and it was hysterical because they absolutely the Japanese people that were so wonderfully funny, and they love their karaoke, but they'd be up and dancing and doing ballroom dancing to like Country Road and it was complete. They were just such an amazing group of people.
Oh wow, I love it.
They had translators on board for each way, so you could, if you went to a Japanese event, there was some English and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was great. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and I have to ask, did you have time to go to the shops?
Yes, we did. So,
what did you think of the shops on board?
The shops on board were actually, I thought they were better than on Queen Mary too, but don't say that. So they were really well stocked, actually, especially the souvenir stuff. There was some really nice bits and pieces. Clothing wise, my mum was disappointed. She thought there'd be more clothing wise, but it's, for me, it was everything I needed. Jewellery and handbags. Yes, I'd love to buy them, but I'm not willing to spend that kind of money.
No. Save up for the next cruise.
Exactly. You can spend £10,000 on the Hermes handbag they've got in the shop there, but I could go on another 2 cruises, so I'd rather do that.
That's right. That's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. Oh, good. Well, I work for Harding, so I will feed that back to the area manager. If you said it was rubbish, of course I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, it was honestly no. The shops were great. They had all your bits and pieces. Although I was happy with one of the store assistants because there was one night I just couldn't be bothered washing my hair. Excuse me, 1 second. So I went down to buy a can of dry shampoo, $7, and it was this big. So I was like, "This is the most expensive can of I can't be bothered ever," but it was worth it.
Do you know what though? They get you because on stuff like that, they know. They're like, know what? It's like those rain ponchos. It's like a glamorous black bin liner.
Yeah,
and as soon as it rains, it's like 25 quid.
Yeah, I could have watched and dried my hair, but it takes so long. I was just like, oh, do you know what? I'd rather spend $7. And I think I've got massive cans at home of the wretched stuff because I buy it from Costco in bulk. But
Yeah.
Just didn't
So
remember.
I've never
to put it in my
used
bag.
it. I should give
Oh,
it a go.
I've got tons and tons of hair, so it comes out fairly regularly because I can't always be bothered doing my hair properly.
Yeah, me
But
too. I
the shops
can't,
were good. They were good. They weren't bad at all. They weren't bad
Oh,
at all. It was
good.
a good selection.
And the
of
staff were good, were they? Was there any Japanese staff on board?
There was Japanese language entertainment staff.
That's good.
But other than that, it was more or less the usual mix of nationalities across everything.
Amazing. They do it so well, don't they? It's difficult.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
it's difficult when you've got different nationalities.
But there was nothing like, there wasn't specifically Japanese, wait staff or anything. But everyone managed, and all the menus were bilingual.
Oh wow!
In the buffet, they had different, they'd have English food, Japanese food, Italian, everything going on.
Lovely,
so you
lovely.
could do a bit of everything.
Oh, I love it. And your next cruise?
Alaska.
In when?
7th of August. We sail from Vancouver. Just need to get there, which is, minor details. So that's where we're going to do next.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And because this is how we met, was that you volunteered to try out the maps.
I did.
And we were talking about the maps today. So if anyone from Cruise Critic in the group are watching, we were saying that even the cruise line is very good at giving you information and stuff like that. But one of the things that they don't do, and this is not just typical of Cunard, it's typical of most cruise lines, is just a really easy to follow map. And that's what I do. So basically, I'm just gonna pop it up here. So if you go over to Cruise Shop Save, actually I'm just working on the links at the moment, but you can always email me or direct message me. But you're going to take the maps and test them out in Juneau.
I am Juneau, Skagway, and all the places going.
Ketchikan.
What I like with your maps that I've seen so far is they look really easy to understand. I brought along we found in Japan, every single port of call, and South Korea as well, I should add, they had the information teams down from the local area giving out maps and advice. But the maps are like this. They are chock full of information. And there's a lot of stuff that you just, genuinely, you're not going to see. Or it's not going to be of use. It's too far out.
Yeah.
So yours are much more simplified. They highlight the areas that you will probably want to go to. You're not looking at, some of these maps, they're 15, 20 miles out, which is, you're on a cruise, you're not going that far.
No, you're not. And it's, I don't do maps for Japan, but I can. But there are A4. I don't know why I don't have one here right now, just to show. It's A4, just a little A4, and it's just the map. And you've just got where the ship docks, and then the major attractions within that area. Obviously, the map's shrunk down a little bit, but it is within the vicinity. And if there's any major attractions that are off the map, you've just got to pull out box that sort of explains where it is. And then you've got recommended shops. So these are all shops that are guaranteed. So all the products you're going to buy are authentic. And there's a lot of fun stuff, like in Ketchikan, you got to go to Ketch Candies and get the amazing fudge and goodies from there that you will eat before you bring back for your friends. Don't tell them you're getting any. But it's really good. And thank you so much for testing out the maps. There's a bunch of free gifts as well. So I'm going to update the map for you and get it out to you before you go on your Alaskan cruise.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting them. I know you've got the shops like Diamonds International can go get your little trinkets somewhere. And I think I know where it is. I've got a bracelet from the last time I went to the Caribbean, and I've got all my little charms on it. So I was like,
that's Diamonds International. You need to get some more. That's Diamonds International. It's so much fun. People collect those like crazy, and it's so funny because I've just joined that group. I don't know where I've been living. I've been under a rock. I've just discovered about the ducks that people hide and
the ducks collect. That's not I've never seen one on Cunard. I don't think it's a Cunard thing. I've never seen one.
I haven't heard of them. It's no, we won't mention it. We were talking about QA, we're talking about Japan.
It's on some of the other major cruise lines.
So if you're watching this, do head over to there it is, the Facebook group, Cunard Critic, over 10,000
Oh,
people in this group. It's a lovely group. I've been in it for about 3 weeks. I love it. People post pictures of where the ships are at the moment. There's lots of actually really good information on there, which I really like. So if you just want a quick answer to something, I notice people go in there who haven't yet booked a cruise, and they can get some advice. And all the people in that group are just so helpful. I love it.
Yeah,
So
it's a really
for
good group. It's a really good group. We have guides to things like accessible cabins, food on board, how the drinks packages work on board. So we've got a lot of useful information that'll help you plan your next Cunard cruise or your first Cunard cruise. And you can always go in and ask questions. Like I had to ask a question this morning because I couldn't find the information I needed.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. And I love Cunard. Fantastic cruise line. It's very, very unique. And they go to all these wonderful places. But thank you so much for your time. And thank you
You're
for
welcome.
testing out the maps in Alaska. Thank you for talking to me about Japan. You've just fueled my bucket list desire to get my backside over there. Love it. And thank you everyone for watching. If you do have any questions, just stick in. Hi, Wendy. Wendy's watching. Wendy watches every week. Thank you, Wendy, for watching.
Hi, Wendy.
Okay, have a lovely weekend. All right. So bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Take
Thanks
care.
so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.